Good evening, Misfits. Quarterfinals 2021, the very first quarterfinals ever, is underway. If you hung out with us this afternoon on Instagram Live, we did events 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna go over the order that we think that these should be in. If you're watching this live, we'll get to that as soon as possible, so you can potentially follow our advice, especially if you are lucky enough to be watching this and live on the West Coast of the U.S. So I think probably the best thing to do here is to talk about the order of the events and then get into the specific events themselves. Being on the East Coast in the United States here for us, it seemed like a no-brainer to attack 4 first.
Yep.
Coming off of a primer rest day kind of vibe. Your central nervous system is going to react the best to a 1-rep max type lift on that day. So we get that out of the way. I will say that I do have some athletes that like a pre-fatigued lift. They like the blood flow. They like all that good stuff and have had some success with doing event 3 first, getting the wall balls and rowing out of the way. I am not said unicorn. I don't know how many of them are out there, but there just are some people that like to lift after they've gotten an icon in.
I would say if you are someone who likes to do one of the events, or maybe you don't want the pressure of doing the event first because you really want to get all you can for the front squat. Like, we give you the advice on game day for the open, like go in and get sweaty. That applies here too. So like that could be, hey, I want to row a 2K. I want to do a 100-calorie assault bike. I want to move through some steady range of motion. But like breaking a sweat is never a bad idea when it comes to trying to do your best on a lift. It's just not to be ultra intense.
I don't think it would be ridiculous to either, if you were that athlete, to do the wall balls first and then front squat. And then if you didn't like how that went, you can start your Friday with the front squat.
You can also front squat on Saturday.
Or front squat on Saturday. You've got a decent amount of time, and we know that that's certainly on the high CNS demand side, but it's not a back squat. It's not a deadlift.
Exactly.
It's much more skill-based, so you do have a little bit of that flexibility. You just kind of have to avoid that the mind sweeper that is event 2 when you're thinking about the front squat.
Nice way to describe it.
Yes. We're not emotionally ready to talk about event 2, but what we will say is that events 1 and 2, if you live in a place where this is possible, should be done on Friday and not on Thursday. And there could be, again, you talk about the unicorn situation. There could be an athlete that just wall ball rows not their jam and GHD sit-up pistol is their jam. Those people will exist. But you'd have to really, for me as a coach, you'd really have to break down why you think doing that many GHDs and pistols makes sense before the wall ball row.
Literally every part about it you would need to justify that to me, between the leg fatigue, the midline fatigue,
duration,
the stability, the duration, the intensity. Like that is you are kind of planning your weekend a little bit around event 2.
Now here's a question. Can you, Hunter, you did event 1.
Yep. Could
you do event 1? So someone's watching this right now. They live on the West Coast.
Yep.
Could you do event 1 after wall ball row and get a good score? If you're trying to qualify for the semifinals, could you handle that? Because I'm just thinking they only have, Ted brought.
Say wall ball row first and then
so you front squat, wall ball row, and do that all in the same day, because they got their workouts announced at 11:30 a.m. They've got all that time, but then they're at a disadvantage because tomorrow they're going to have to do event 2 between whatever it is, 7 a.m. and 11 to be safe.
I think it's definitely doable. I feel okay now. I think if I had to do it now, I think I would rather do event 1 and then the wall ball row. Too. I would do that. Was that the question? Sorry, I think
it's no. It's okay. It's really just about that. We're talking about that third workout for anyone who has the time, anyone who lives, west of us.
I think the handstand push-up one it's not going to ruin your weekend. I guess I'll put it.
Yeah,
that
and then
way.
devil's advocate, could you do event 1 tomorrow morning?
Yep.
You magically wake up on the West Coast. Could you do that at 9 a.m. and event 2 at 10:30?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
both of those options are out there.
Yep.
If you're a worrier, a stressor, you're worried about your video, doing all this stuff, it could be worth taking a chance in getting that third event in on one day.
To me, thinking about those two events, 3, if you're someone without great shoulder endurance, I would recommend doing event 1 first. If you're someone that has pretty good shoulder endurance, like I don't think I could have, like I did the row wall ball. If you had given me a couple hours, I don't think it would have really drastically impacted my ability to do handstand push-ups later in the afternoon.
Right.
Because the wall ball you throw up in the air, you get a chance to like swing your arms out.
Yeah.
You're not under tension for a significantly long time. And, you know, your workout was 8.5 minutes or so, something along that line. So it's not both of those tests are sub 10 minutes. They're not going to really get you in that like super sore area, I don't think. And for me, it's really about making a decision of like what tends to be your strength. If you're someone that has, you know, a really good engine, you know, probably can get away with doing the row wall ball second versus like cooking your shoulders with the wall balls and then being like, oh, I don't have great handstand push-ups and now I can't do them. Because that was the biggest thing I saw on you, is that you moved super fast through the first 2 rounds strict, and I could tell the pump was starting to get to you. And then we saw the kipping handstand push-ups outside of the little snafu in the very first one, like losing your balance. But you could tell that was really getting to you later on with the combination of kipping and shoulder to overhead.
Yeah, it was more, honestly, I think it was more the dumbbell hang power cleans is like, and I knew it was going to be coming in bicep and kind of like front delt intensive, and therefore your handstand push-up muscles. So I just kind of tried to get them out of the way as quick as I could. But I would agree. I think I would be able to get a better score by doing, for me personally, the handstand push-up piece first, and then like I said, right now I could go out and. No, I'm not going to set the world on fire, but I would be fine to do the wall balls and rowing.
Right.
Whereas in the other direction, like, yeah, you want to be able to use your legs a little bit for like the shoulder to overhead component. And then you obviously want your shoulders to be as fresh as possible. So I think it makes more sense to do the handstand push-up piece first or before the rowing and
it's
wall
just that
balls.
fast that fast twitch muscle fiber type of deal. Like if you're someone that does those wall balls and they're, you know, if you're not great at getting a leg drive, you use your shoulders too much and you try to do handstand push-ups later on, you might not have the juice in your arms to be able to make through that one, because you have pretty good endurance in your upper body. And I could still see that you were getting pretty close to muscle failure on the kipping handstand push-ups, and then it definitely happened on the dumbbell shoulder to overhead.
Yep.
Whoa.
Bless you.
Excuse me. So here's what I'll say. You have to qualify all of these statements because there's a very wide range of people that have made it to the quarterfinals.
Yep.
If I was your coach, I would not ask you to do that third workout. I would ask you to do that workout the following day. Yep. You know,
go 2-2-1. You're saying 2-2.
Exactly. Yeah. So you would be doing 1 and 2 Friday morning, even if you were on Pacific time. You know, West Coast athlete. You would do 1 and 2 on Friday. I would only do, if someone's trying to qualify for semifinals, same thing. 3 and 4.
You mean 1 and 2 on Thursday?
Friday? No.
Today?
Talking about West Coast now.
Would you have them front squat first still?
Yep.
So front squat, then 1 and 2?
Same exact schedule.
Yeah.
You are just at a disadvantage with your rest period between 1 and 2 on Friday morning.
Right.
Got it. Saturday is a very interesting day within all of this because you have the potential to not have to do anything if you don't want to do it. If you're feeling really beat up, newsflash, you know, get out my crystal ball, predict the fucking future. Yes. You know, these guys talked about 120 wall balls isn't much, but when you're, you know, a bit of an exaggeration, life depends on it. There's something that happens to you when you have that level of intensity. You know, we'll do Karen in class and it won't be that big of a deal. And then you do Karen to open up that open workout and you can't walk for a month. So there's something different about charging your nervous system when you are all in on everything. Saturday could, if workout number 5 is not in your wheelhouse, it could be a good idea to do it on Saturday.
Yep.
The idea of, you know, I'm from a coaching standpoint, I am so excited with where I am at mentally right now because I know exactly what events 1 through 4 are. Like we've literally watched them, and then event 5, like that's a familiar foe. We know all about event 5. We know what happens when you attack the metabolic demand of that 9 and 9 and then hold on for dear life in between. It's going to be really fun to watch. But if you're that's not in your wheelhouse, I think attempt 1 has to be on Saturday. I really do. I think if you're, you know, Austin's pretty excited about this workout. You know, he's going to go, I just told him he's going to go full Street Fighter. His hair's going to set on fire. But like, that is his style of workout. I think it's okay for him to do it on Sunday.
Yeah,
going into that.
Thinking about him moving through that workout too, and if you're not someone that's really great at like giving yourself 2 opportunities where you might be a little sore from pulling from the floor for 185 a handful of times, but like it's one of those ones you get 2 opportunities for. But like for him, like eyes are seeing red. It's what he trains for year round. This is an opportunity for him to like essentially show out his skills. He's been working really hard at improving both his like overall capacity, but also barbell cycling. So to me, it's one of those events that it's going to be very fun to watch. And, I think that athletes potentially could learn quite a bit about themselves after doing it one time and giving them a chance to do better on that second attempt.
Yeah, I think you'll have to, it'll definitely be individual dependent because you were going to be, if you're somebody who gets a little bit dinged up from the row wall ball, you can be damn sure you're going to be dinged up after the GHD pistol rope climb. You might need that extra day. The only downside, and I guess maybe this is going to be talking to a different group of athletes, Austin, somebody who's going to be able to, Austin, Caroline are going to light the floor on fire with that weight of snatches and that volume. Right. That's going to be fun to watch. For a lot of people, that barbell is on a line where you might fail a couple reps, and that's
go out too hot and things are going to get weird. You
go out too hot, things get weird. You fail a couple reps, that can add 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes to your time. And it's like, well, if I redo this and I don't fail those reps, I automatically save a bunch of time. So that would be the instance where I would say to yourself, like, you need to, I don't know if you need to go like a practice run of it on Saturday or see how you're feeling. Like there's a lot of, you got to know yourself sort of thing. But that's the one instance where I would say, like, you just got to be smart about when you choose to do that piece based on how you're feeling.
Right. And I think Saturday is so important here to think about from every possible angle. What does doing this X workout again do to, what happens on Sunday? What does it do to if you're doing event 5 on Saturday and Sunday? What does it do to that? Most people are going to try their front squat again on Saturday. Adding 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, what does that do to your central nervous system? And what is the trade-off for a workout like event 5 that is all nervous system, right? That, having power, aside from having, great hip range to be able to, bring your knees up to your eyeballs so you don't have to jump that high. Like that is, you need to be ready to go for that workout. Now, a lot of people can go to the well, the best of the best can go to the well anytime, but be careful with what you try to improve on if you think there's going to be an issue with event 5 because of it, because there are trade-offs there. If the workout that was just, 21.3, 21.4, if it mattered more, I think a lot of people would have gone a little bit slower and lifted more weight on purpose. It could have made sense for a lot of people. The leaderboard was just jam-packed at all of these weights where just adding a few more pounds was hundreds of places, and a few seconds off the other thing didn't, 21.3 didn't matter all that much. So there are a lot of games to be played here, and we can't predict your specific scenario, but we can tell you to think about the second and third and fourth order effects of the choices that you make over the course of the weekend, specifically relating to Saturday.
That's a really nice segue into like making sure that you do the other things after you get done the workout to set yourself up to give a chance to have an opportunity to do well the rest of the weekend. Because, some of you are going to be forced to do 1 and 2 on the same day. And then you're like, oh, great, I have 2 more days of competition. If you finish your day with those GHDs and pistols and you kind of like, all right, I'll have my shake and walk out of the gym and think that you're going to have a good opportunity the next 2 days to do well, like you're sadly mistaken. So like we always plug, trying to get sure that you think about the other 23 hours of the day or the other whatever many hours there are after you get done training, depending on who you are. But you think about those things and you flush yourself out and you take the time. This is your season for a lot of people. So take it ultra seriously. Take the opportunity to warm up and cool down between every single event and think about how you're moving and think about what you just did to your body and set yourself up to have the opportunity to do well, because nothing would be, more frustrating as the athlete to really push as hard as you can on event 2 and then being like, get up the next morning and be like, my weekend's over because I didn't take care of myself afterwards. So like just a little plug for the, see a flush that follows every single one of these things. Like take the time, do that. Make sure if you need a little bit more, do extra when it comes to recovery. But just remember, you need to do those things because that's what's going to set you up with the opportunity to do well the rest of the weekend. Because you're right. If you decide to do another front squat on Saturday and you get 1 more pound, but it adds a minute and a half to your last workout, like was that 1 pound worth it?
Right. Yeah, I think now we go event by event. So Hunter, you're up, event 1. I mean, it's kind of funny to look at. It's one of those ones where you're literally asking the best of the best, how fast can you move in this? Everyone's going unbroken. Everyone is doing the exact same thing in this workout. So rep speed actually matters, which is weird. That is very rare in our sport. And transitions are obviously massively important. And they've finally done something that was really fucking smart with where you have to stand, where you got to go. I got to go here. You got to go there. You know, person's not doing their wall balls over their rower rail or whatever it was back in the day. So, I mean, how was it? I saw it out of the corner of my eye a few times.
Yeah, I mean, we basically hit on it. It's an upper body stamina sort of workout. There was no point where I was failing metabolically, and I think that'll be the case for most. I think the fittest aren't going to struggle as far as like they are fit enough for that not to impact them. It's just how fast can you go for kind of the middle range 10% or top 10% athlete. It is going to be a shoulder stamina thing. Not that there wasn't like breathing involved, especially if maybe your double unders like you don't breathing. Have those. Yeah, exactly. Nuisance breathing, but definitely a shoulder stamina sort of thing. So to kind of your point, definitely make sure that you're warming up well. Make sure that you can get into the right position against the wall, because if you can't, you start using the same musculature that you use in the dumbbell. Even like the hang power clean doesn't seem like a shoulder intensive movement. Kind of similar to rope climbs. Don't seem like an ab movement until you try to do them without any abs.
The implications of if you overextend because you're lazy in event 1, event 2, bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Just positioning is going to be super important. And then, like you said, rep speed. We did a bunch of handstand push-ups yesterday. I was pretty happy about how those felt. The standard is that the square is pretty nice. I'll be honest. That 40 40 inches wide.
Why wasn't that a workout like 3 years ago?
Makes it a little, there's a little bit less of a gray area, but I mean, we talk about it all the time in tip videos and everything. You got to get yourself close to the wall to knock out the handstand push-ups. If you're that person who, especially your hands are way off the wall, you kind of do that banana sort of like inverted push-up into an upside down strict press. Like you were midline, fronts of your shoulders, which also you need for those dumbbell shouldered overhead. Like I saw a couple other athletes do them and they were like, we're doing sets of, I mean, even I did a set of, I think I said three sets in the last set of 10 shouldered overhead because my shoulders were just cooked.
Yeah, and you haven't touched on it yet, but the double unders matter too for someone that is, you're a little bit lazy with your jump rope and you spin a little too much from your shoulders. Like you're just doing another movement that's shoulder intensive. So like if you're looking to really try to find a spot to quote unquote rest or try to recover as you give your shoulders a break, you got to spin your wrists. You cannot use your shoulders to spin that jump rope. And I thought you did a pretty good job with that. I didn't really think the double unders tripped you up or really slowed you down all that much. But if you're someone that's lazy with that and you're like, oh, I'll just get through this. I had a little bit of a 21.1 feel where like you have this really massive upper body stamina type of thing. And then this little tiny break, at least for part of the workout, that was the opportunity to give your shoulders a quick shake. So really try to focus on bounding from those ankles, spinning those wrists.
Yeah. I think it's also worth noting that you should move fast through those first three rounds if you have the capacity to. I don't think you gain anything by seriously breaking those up unless you really have like an issue with the shoulder stamina portion. Get through those strict movements fast, move the dumbbells quickly. Honestly, that even could be the place to take a quick break is with the dumbbells. I don't know how I don't know if I'll co-sign that.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you're talking about different populations. Like if you're someone who's like just looking to see what you can do in the quarterfinal, and that's kind of the end of your race. Like I agree with you. But if you're someone that's looking to take it to the next stage, like there's really no place to hide.
If you're trying to be a top 120, you don't put those things down. You light your hair on fire.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't put anything down. And sure, mentioned being lazy on double unders. I'm more concerned with athletes being lazy. What do you call it? Their coconut. Hunter, donut, you got all kinds of different names.
Yeah,
the grape.
What do you want? Your grape, melon.
There's a lot of foods being thrown around here. People get really lazy with slight discomfort, this almost boredom, pain, weird thing, and it drives me fucking crazy. It's like, I've seen you on the rower, I've seen you on the bike, I've seen you out running, I've seen you doing all these things that demand a higher level of your attention. That to me is the problem is, your mind can go wherever
This feels
when
like a
you're
personal
doing
attack
that.
right now.
No, it's not about you. You look pretty tired when you stop doing your double unders.
Good.
That's just inefficiency
You
of
look
body.
appropriately tired.
Yeah. I see a lot of people with, just that level of grit in so many other areas, and they stop jump roping on a regular basis. You will prove to yourself that is not, it's the first time you do the 15 thrusters unbroken in Fran. It's the first time you tell your body, I'm not listening on the assault bike. Whatever you need to do, get through it. You will prove to yourself that you were being a baby in every past instance of, I don't want to just shake this out. Like everything's good. No, do your double unders unbroken. Those should be the easiest part of this workout.
100%.
Like they are the easiest part of this workout. So Sherb talked about, obviously, if your mind can go to being not lazy, couldn't think of an antonym there real quick, but being not lazy and moving well, sometimes that's the only thing you need is wrist. What are my feet doing? What are my feet doing? And then all of a sudden, 30, 40 pass by.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with using a mantra like that. If that keeps you engaged, and if you like, instead of like looking around at the gym or how you're feeling, like think about just flick the wrist. You're able to do that. And we talk about it all the time with like our chest to bar cue, like make sure you see your feet, and then you take feet, hips. Whatever gets you through that same thing, keeps you engaged. If it works for you, it works for you. We want you to do it. Yeah,
getting media done and coaching simultaneously while affiliate stuff is going on. I haven't been on the internet yet, but I can only imagine the memes about Castro and Event 2. Let's just check my math again real quick. 180 glute ham developer, midline shredders. Rope climbs
really developing those glutes and hams on
yes, it makes sense.
Hamburger
and pistol.
Hamburger.
Rope climbs, bit of a throw. Yeah, they're in there. Bit of a throwaway in this workout.
Until you don't have hip flexors or your psoas or your abs.
It's intriguing. It's almost, we joked as if an inefficient rope climb with a little more upper body might make more sense.
We were like, should we just tell people to do a Bernie style legless rope climb? Just let your low body just hang while you climb up and save your arms.
This workout is something special. This is the kind of workout where we are not going to be able to tell you a whole lot. Like, I think it's important for us to be honest in these. We could do the breakdown of every 6 seconds you want to face the sun and do smelling salts or whatever. Like,
I'm into that program.
There is not.
We'll see you guys out back.
There's not a way to escape, this pile of mashed potatoes that's sitting there. You can't, it is there.
Yeah.
And you can start fast and it will correct you. You can start a little bit slower and you'd probably pick it up at some point, if you really have competitive aspirations. Obviously burning yourself out from a, muscular standpoint at the beginning of the workout would be not the greatest thing in the world. We can give you tips on if your back typically pumps out. And remember, the amount of extension and flexion going back and forth from pistols to GHD sit-ups is monstrous.
Yeah.
Everybody looks like a dog taking a shit in a pistol, right? Just about everybody. And GHD sit-ups, how do you not overextend? If you sit further back, you create a longer lever arm. It is harder to sit up, but you save your back. Right. So again, just to make sure people know exactly what we're talking about, if you are sitting with your butt on the pad and your feet are further away from you, or your feet are
further away from the pad,
you're further away from the pad,
on top of the pad,
you are going to be able to hinge at the waist more. You're going to have a shorter moment arm, less weight to lift, but your back is going to be at risk if you don't
back a lot farther.
Exactly. Yeah. You're going to be that person that looks like they're, turned 90. The opposite would be getting, inching the foot pad closer to you, sitting your butt further back on the pad. But again, the trade-off there is just that longer lever arm to go through these movements. You have to figure this out. You really do. You got to figure this out before you give this workout a shot. You got to play with some warm-up reps and think about those movements happening back and forth, because you could feel fantastic on your 60 and then your pistols really turn your 50 into something special.
I was just going to say, like, watching Nicole, kind of using her as a perspective for the Instagram live, like, she definitely had the foot pad closer to her seat that was underneath her hamstrings. So she definitely had that longer moment arm. So she was working harder there. I don't know if that was a personal choice. That's where she always goes.
Yes, I talked to her before. She was worried about her low back.
So great, great call there. But the way I like to think of this workout is essentially you have like the front half of your body being assaulted by the GHDs and then your midline, then your upper body a little bit in the rope climbs, and then you have if you're able to recruit your posterior chain for the pistols, you have the opportunity to kind of trade muscle groups. Now, don't get me wrong, I know you use your quadriceps when you're trying to stand up and out a pistol, but if you're someone that's able to sit back and use the heel and the bounce from the stretch reflex from the bottom of your pistol, aka your hamstring hitting your calf, you could save yourself. So like a couple of things I said to Nicole while she's doing that workout was try to get back under your heel so you can use the back half of your body. Because again, you're getting assaulted on the front end. At some point, if you don't take a break or you're not moving methodically, you're going to get put, brakes are going to be slammed on your car at some point. So for me, I like to think about this as, even the best athletes will probably have to stop at some point in the GHDs, and that is okay. It just can't be an egregiously long rest. You stake your legs out real quick, you give them a quick shake, you go back in. And, I was thinking for some of the really good athletes out there, they might attack the first 60, 20, 20, 20 with a very short rest, because if they go 60 straight and then they can't do the rope or they can't do the pistols, like, what did you gain from those first 60 pistols?
I think the best athletes in the world will still, they're like best of the best.
Best of the best, yeah.
Tia probably doesn't have to give anything away on the GHD or the pistol, but the other people that are going to semifinals, you can have one movement where you are being mindful of what's going on. You can't have both. You can't do 10s on your GHDs and slow and controlled pistols. It's going to be a problem. Those things going together. So, obviously a moderate mix of both is fine. It's going to end up yielding sort of the same thing. But if you are looking at this and you hate pistols and GHD sit-ups, you're going to have to make your mind up about which one you can grind on.
I got just the thing for you.
Through the workout, though. I mean, you have to decide before which one you are going to, sort of triage a little bit, and then the other one, you're just going to have to do it. You're going to have to grind. So the lesser of two evils is really important in this workout.
Yeah, I was thinking about this workout for myself. Not that I'm setting the world on fire with my score, but like I'll have to be consistent on the GHDs and consistent on the rope because the pistols take me 17 hours. So,
right.
If you're someone that's like that, maybe you decide that you're very good at pistols, but GHDs aren't something you do a ton of. Like, you can be a little bit more methodical on the GHD, take those breaks. Like
break them up a ton and don't rest.
Take a break and then just cook through those pistols. And, you might actually save yourself the ability to climb up the rope a little bit more consistently if you don't fry your hip flexors, because that was the first thing Nicole said when I walked over to her with the camera afterwards. Like, how do you feel? She's like, my hip flexors, my quads, I couldn't climb the rope. And, quickly realized that had she been a little bit more methodical with her GHDs or had taken breaks in the first set, she wouldn't have set up the rope for a long time. And I bet you if we go back and look, there's probably a good 3 or 4 minutes of just standing by the rope because of how much the GHD did to her hip flexors.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I have too much to add on this. I think I do want to say quickly too, we're talking a lot of times to the semifinal athlete who this isn't going to seriously impact, but there's a lot of top 10 percenters who have not done a high volume of GHD sit-ups. And even with a 20-minute time cap, we saw 3 of our kind of affiliate, but more on the like hatchet level athlete go through that. They still accumulated 150 reps in 20 minutes. Like,
that's a good dose.
Please be intelligent about your selection to do the workout. And like, assuming a lot of you are going to, I'm not proposing, hey, just don't do it. Just be smart. Like you can adopt a better strategy for both your own like safety and your score. Like if you try to set the world on fire in your first 60 GHD sit-ups, like the intensity plays a factor too, and kind of fatigue and soreness, and
you were saying earlier about the 150 wall balls that start a workout. Like, it's one thing when you do it randomly in your game on Thursday, and then you do it in a qualifier. It's a different game.
It's not our brand to play world police, so we won't spend too much time on it. But holy shit, be careful. Like I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Said.
But I know some really fit people.
If you do them a lot, that's one thing. But like I was like, listen, I'll do this workout. I think I'm fit enough to not
Go to the hospital.
to go to the
Sorry,
hospital.
I got your
but I'm
edible
also
arrangement for the hospital. It's already on the way there.
Thanks, perfect. So I hope it's a fruit basket. But yeah, I to be determined as to whether I even attack this workout, just because I haven't done GHD sit-ups a lot, and I'm fine with not doing the workout.
For sure. I think probably the last thing, warming up. Oh my God, if you're one of those people that feels great in your third round of pistols, get to that point before the workout.
Yeah.
A lot of blood flow, a lot of range of motion, a lot of squatting. You know, we do the sort of the back and forth squat thing where you're almost sort of doing a pistol in an air squat. You're picking up the weight off of the other foot. Get yourself to a point where you feel, because it's not going to matter. Like, people get so scared in their warm up, I'm going to pump myself out. And it's like, well, you can't do pistols anyways. Like, until you get to that point.
If you're worried about pumping yourself out, you were screwed from the start.
Yeah.
So warm up well enough. Sorry,
I mean,
you're
right.
That's what it is.
You're right.
I would say, like, spend the extra few minutes getting every little additional degree range of motion you can out of your knees, hips, ankles specifically, because of the reasons that we talked about before. If that ankle doesn't go all the way, you are going to compensate for that somehow, probably in low back flexion. That's going to make your back explode to meet that below parallel standard. So
you're also looking at 30 to 45 minutes on a one damper, a C2 bike after event 3, and potentially even tomorrow morning going into, the day. You got to get that waste out. I know that there's the powered dot and the this and the that, and there's a lot of brands that do this now, and the Normatec and everything, but the best thing that you can do for recovery is move your muscles yourself. A lot of walking, a lot of, C2 bike, because you can put the damper down, just makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, the science
you have
there,
to flush the waste out of your legs.
The science there is just about muscle contraction. So what gets the most amount of muscle recruitment and contraction is movement. Like, that's great. Those things attached to a very specific part of your quad.
Dog, I'm going to sit on the couch.
That was my favorite video back in the day. It was the dude who had the Mark Pro that was telling everyone to stop icing. And he was talking to Mark Bell, and he said, could you just sit there and flex your muscles for like 30 minutes? And he goes, I don't know, probably. And like totally ruined the guy's point. And I was like, that's perfect.
Gym and see someone doing that. No, what are you doing? I'm recovering over here.
Just convulsing. All right, moving it along. We have a familiar foe in the old 100 and event 3 of 120 wall balls, 120 calorie row. Sure was so excited to do it. Put up a very good time, just basically, throwing the shoes on and getting after it. This workout, so many people have done some sort of variation of 100 wall ball buy-in or Karen so many times that we know exactly what is going to happen here. And because everyone has a similar capacity just in terms of how long the wall balls will take, you got to get them done like pretty damn quickly and get on the rower. If you game the wall balls to a point where you don't get to use your ability on the rower, it's not, your effort will be completely wasted.
I was going to say, I was very intentional putting my timer directly in front of my face when I was doing the wall balls, thinking that like on a very good day, sun is shining, birds chirping, I'm hitting somewhere between like 32 or 33 wall balls a minute as like my cadence. There are some athletes that can probably push 34 or 35. So I knew going into it, I had about 4 minutes of wall balls, but I also knew that if I went and overextended myself on the wall balls, that my first minute on the rower would be at like 1,100, 1,000 cals an hour, and that wouldn't be worth it. So for me, I went in with the idea of like, all right, I'm going to do at least 3 sets. If it got to be 4, got to be 5, that's fine, but it can't rest long. You and I talked about this a little bit beforehand. So I did 65 plus like a no rep or 2. Then I did 35 plus a no rep or 2, and then 20. And that got me done the wall balls at like 4:10, which means if I had gone unbroken, I maybe saved myself 15 seconds versus not doing them unbroken. But I do truly believe that I wouldn't have been able to hold the pace I held on the rower had I gone unbroken. Now, would it be worth potentially doing it again and seeing if that's actually the case? Maybe, yeah. It depends on how I feel, coming up the next couple of days. But, you want to make sure that you get the wall balls done. You don't ever really rest for a very long period of time if you are breaking them up. But there's nothing wrong with doing a couple of sets there. Quick shake of the arms, big deep breath, pick the ball up and get right back to work. Because for most people, the separator is how hard you're going to row. It's very similar to 19.1 back in the day. I know it's not the same back and forth, but it's really about what that screen says in cals per hour. the higher that number is, the faster you're going to get done. And then when you get to that, point in the workout where you're almost at the end, hopefully you have enough knowledge about yourself to know what that number is that you can kind of push to the finish. And, I said to you, I think directly after that, I probably could have added 5 more calories to my push, but that's, what we do. We're figuring out where we're at. And know if I do this again, maybe I try unbroken wall balls and try to push 30 calories instead of 25. So for me, it's really about knowing yourself through training experiences, how wall balls affect you, and then knowing what that's going to do to your rowing pace. Because to me, that's the time warp in this workout. If you're not good at rowing, you're not diligent with your pacing, you don't know what you can hold, or you go too, undulating up and down too much, that's where you get in trouble.
There's way too many charts out there for you to not know what rowing pace you should be holding.
True.
You should know roughly how long those 120 wall balls are going to take.
Do you have that chart up right now?
No, I was actually looking for the MAC workout. I do know that around 1,000 cals is 2 minute, like a 2 minute per 500 pace. So you can kind of go up from there. I think like 12 is around the one.
I got it.
I
got it right here. Yeah.
So bottom line is 100. Like that's a super easy way to crunch the numbers. If you know you're 20 cals a minute, you're looking at 6 minutes. I don't know what that plays out to, but you should have spent enough time looking at a rower monitor that you know what you can hold. We talked about that with Caroline as far as what she was looking to do. But yeah, you should go into that chart, and if it's like, okay, I know I can hold this pace per 500 meters for this long, well, just and
it's going to be very similar to a 2K for you, the feel. Because yes, if you're better, you can get in that 6 minute range, but you've just done 120 wall balls. So the feeling is going to be pretty similar. And, a 140 is 1,500. A 150 is 1,200. So that's, you really got to sort of base it off that. Most people are going to land in the 140 to 2 minute range. On this workout for, the meat, the 80 to 100 calories to start.
For me, we just did a piece on the blog really recently that was like 40 cals, 80 cals, 100 cals, 120 cals. Like we just did that like a week ago on misfitathletics.com. And, when you do something like that and we give you those pacing instructions, something I like to think about is like, what is my floor pace? What is the number I don't want to see on the screen? Like, what is that threshold number where like, I'm going to try at this number or higher for the duration. So for today, my goal, once I got on there and how I was feeling, was like, I try to hold 1,300. I don't know what that equates to, but like probably somewhere around like a 145, 148, somewhere in that range. And your goal is to be able to hold that pace until you there's that light at the end of the tunnel, and you know that, hey, if I go really hard for 45 more seconds, or I go hard for 30 more seconds, or maybe you're a monster 90 seconds, like you know what that number is, and you go for it then. Because what you don't want to do is limp home to the finish. You want to end strong.
Do you think there is risk of getting distracted, just sort of a la what I talked about with the double unders? Someone's got to go sit on that rower for a pretty long period of time, and there's just that slight discomfort, just that like, this doesn't feel like Fran or anything, but this also
it's probably
feels
where you
pretty
gotta,
shitty.
Probably where you got to have a coach or someone sitting, like giving you those checkpoints, giving you those things to think about, like, hey, just 10 at a time. Okay, you're halfway there. And again, if you have that number that you were, the range that you were going to stay in, a lot of you, like, believe it or not, there is a number that you will never see on the rower, like no matter, just purely based on how large you are as a human and pushing into the rower, that like you are.
Don't talk about me.
Well, no. All I was going to say.
See there, you have to know that floor pace, but also like give yourself a little bit of a range to stay into, and then also have a little bit of the confidence that you will have a little bit to push at the end, whether it's 10, 15, 20, or maybe 30 calories.
Well, one thing you hear us talk about a lot, or at least me talk about a lot, is like ego. Like ego can be a good thing, you can be a bad thing, but in this instance, like I actually think ego can be a good thing. You have like a sense of pride about how hard you've worked and all the time you've put on the rower and all the time you've done all those wall balls and all the other training pieces. Like use that confidence that you've built in yourself and say to yourself, like, no, I'm not letting that thing go below 1,200. I'm not letting it go below 1,000, depending on obviously who you are. Like, to me, that the game of like, all right, can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? And then you start to feel as you get further and further, and you're like, all right, I'm doing it. Fuck it, I'm doing it. And then before you know it, you're at that final charge. So for me, that's how I would want to like think about this thing from like my own perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we're allowed to say this stuff because we want the best for the people. We want the misfits out there to reach their potential. That's why we can say, I don't want to fucking hear a word about you dropping, 60 calories per hour lower than where you can be at, just because there's a little bit of discomfort there. We're allowed to say those things just because we know the work that you've put in all year long, and the idea of the fact that you're essentially just bored when you really think about it. That's the only thing that's really doing that to you. I think that that's a problem. So, I mean, again, this workout is something that people understand, especially, you follow misfitathletics.com. You do big sets of wall balls, you do rowing, you literally just did 120 calorie row. You know what this stuff is like. You crank that up just a little bit, just a little bit higher than you would normally go. Keep your team around you, keep your training partner, significant other, friend, whatever it is. Keep those people there that, sort of build up that pride in you that you were just talking about, and send it at the end. Absolutely. I mean, that's one of my favorite things. This is the only thing that I personally like about rowing, is that when you have whatever it is, 25, 30 calories left, and you switch to the mentality of reps, like it's a handstand push-up, like it's a wall ball, whatever, and you pull the rower handle as hard as you possibly can for 30 reps, eyes are closed, your judge is still going to be able to tell you what's going on there. 30, 29, 28, 27. You're going to feel really shitty at 19, but you're going to be like, damn, I'm getting into the teens. I'm almost, I'm getting towards 9. That has always worked for me.
Oh yeah. I completely agree. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Start to count those strokes when you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Event 4 is a 4 rep max front squat. Everybody knows that by now. We have a video on our YouTube channel that talks about, Ted, the title, How to PR Your Front Squat, something to that effect. Yes. Go ahead and search for that, because a lot of people don't think about the front squat from the standpoint of, like, this is, obviously not a back squat. So you sit back too far, barbell dumps forward. Or
rules don't say I can't back squat. I'm going to do it.
Or you can understand that you need to squat between your feet, but then your squatting pattern is the same anyways. So when I say squatting between your feet, I'm literally talking about, like, your butthole needs to point straight down.
Bro, we're live.
You are bringing your butt cheeks between your heels if possible.
That's better.
Hips are through. You're in that position. We won't talk about buttholes anymore, I swear.
Kai, you just talked about them again.
But as you bounce, you point your butthole backwards. No, as you bounce, you're going to sit back into that old squat pattern. As you're warming up, that hip tension, the glutes on the way up, you need to stay as upright as possible. Okay, so that's the bottom half of the equation. Really important that you get loose. Hips are feeling good. Top half of the equation, all we hear all the time is elbows up, elbows up, elbows up. But if I don't have a full grip on the bar, I don't have my thumb wrapped around the bar, and I go elbows up, I can still have my elbows be high. Some people are watching this on YouTube. I will try to explain what I'm doing right now if you're listening. You can have your elbows be high and your thoracic spine can round. So you can have your elbows high and you can get into this position where, like, you're trying to pull your neck way back. Yeah. Not advantageous for, an upright torso. So we need external rotation. That means wrap your thumb around the bar and wind your elbows in. Elbows up, obviously, as well. But winding your elbows in will allow you to create a shelf where you can keep the top half of your spine vertical. So really try to think about that. If you can't get the full grip on the barbell, we understand not everybody has that mobility, but if you can get your hands nice and wide and wind those elbows in, basically what you're doing is setting yourself up to be able to use those back squatting muscles by being able to stand up through and not just fight the fact that your spine feels like it's going to break.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I always talk about with athletes when it comes to front squats is, like, it's an expression of your athleticism and strength. Like, if you don't allow yourself to get into the right positions, you don't have an opportunity to express your strength. So everything you're saying,
that's why it always looks either super easy or terrifying.
Exactly. Like, wow, how the day I do that? And oh my God, that guy's going to die over there. So, like, take the extra time. We talked about getting loose for pistols to make sure you can recruit the right muscle tissue. The same idea with the front squat. Take extra time. Warm up your external rotators in your hips, your shoulders. Warm up your ankles. Make sure your hips are, activated. You're doing your glute activation, all that other stuff. So take the time to do those things, because you don't know how much they matter until you watch a video of yourself after and you're like, did I even warm up? Why does it look like that? And you're like, I thought I was, like you said a second ago, like squatting straight down between my ankles and look nice and vertical. But if you are in those positions, like, take the extra time. The 20-minute time for the front squat is like, LOL, like, who cares? Like, that's so much time to find a 4 rep max. So and you can like warm yourself up ahead of time. So please take the extra time.
Yeah, you could be done in 45 seconds.
Exactly. You could take 1/10, clocks off, and the video clocks off, I'm done. Like, so take the extra time to get loose because
I'm going to send CrossFit a troll video of a full 20-minute, me doing my warm-up, and then just one attempt starting at the 19-minute mark.
You're going to be one of those jerks that puts the video up, says you did 475, but it's 47.5. So the front squat, get warmed up, get to a point. What I told people today, hit a set of 3 that tells you what your set of 4 might be. Yep. That's your warm up. And then that weight is either your starting weight or 5-10 pounds heavier. You should know the first weight that you hit should be like sort of the low end of what you would accept as a score. The only reason you would actually need the 20 minutes is if you kept surprising yourself, which obviously, keep adding 5, 10, 15 pounds based on how the previous set felt. But to really sort of reset and get that juice back, you're looking at a 3 to 5 minute rest. So that's not that many reps.
Yeah. You got to also just kind of be mindful of the fact that the front squat especially is so like, it's kind of like a strict press in the sense that like you can add 3 pounds and all of a sudden it's impossible to do, especially if your positioning isn't good.
Right.
So when you're...
Because from a physics standpoint, it isn't 3 pounds if you're in a bad position.
Yeah, absolutely. So just if you are that person who knows like your mobility or just your front squat isn't super sound positionally, yes, hopefully you surprise yourself, but also like be thinking about that a 5-pound jump could all of a sudden feel like a 20-pound jump if you're
prepare
if you're
yourself.
not
Yeah, every time you put any more weight on there because it's not going to feel the same.
Yep.
Event 5 is the only workout that we have not seen executed yet. We've seen events 1 through 4 executed. We know exactly what they look like.
It's gonna be so much fun.
Event 5 is
call upon us to execute this.
Yeah, I wonder. It's gonna be you guys tomorrow.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So,
How many times can I snatch? 25.
I don't want to do
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the physics live, but if you decide to do the physics, this is a special breed of. Oh, these movements don't take very long. Oh my God, what is happening inside of my body? Yeah. And when you have that kind of workout, you are like literally like movie scene families in the minivan driving away from the lava chasing you. And if you decide that, oh, damn, Betty threw her fucking teddy bear out the window, we got to go get it. Bye-bye.
God damn it, Betty.
I love that movie.
Dude, the lava will take you. You have to stay ahead of this workout. Now, does this mean that you need to drive the van to another state in the first 3 seconds? No, it doesn't. You think about the people that come to mind when I think about this workout, Froning and Fraser, straight away. Froning will make it look like he is not going fast, but he is just not doing touch and go, right?
Yep.
He will probably do singles on this workout, maybe a little touch and go in there, but those people, it's sort of like when when I was a kid and they said, don't swing like Ken Griffey Jr., just keep striking out. Like, it's not that cool.
It's hard to do what he does.
Yes. So understand that you either need to be trying to get ahead of that or you need to be that athlete that does not rest. It looks like you're resting the whole damn workout because you do a single and you stay cool and you stay calm, you stay collected. But that is a very, very unique skill set. We used to work with China Cho. She was the same thing. She could do that. But there's so many athletes where they get these grand ideas about how they're going to break up a workout, and then there are these massive gaps that are in there. Hunter said there's the potential of feeling it out on a Saturday. I don't necessarily ever love the idea of wasting energy on a workout, but there's something to, it's not going to do that much to you to do a few snatches and a few burpee box jump overs and, just get a whiff of the workout and be like, okay, I know what this is. I know where this is going.
Yeah, you could almost do like 2 little primers. Is it like, do I try to do some touch and go reps or is it just quick singles? And then, how quickly can I go and what's it going to feel like after, 4 or 5 of each of these movements and I go back to the barbell, like what's that going to feel like?
And the W in these workouts is the middle round, right? Yes. So we know that everyone is going to be able to go out there and they're going to be very surprised first few times they jump on that box, but they're going to start to settle into it. And then the 6s show up. And the 6s metabolically feel like you're having to do the 9s again. So if you...
It's like Fran. It's just like Fran again.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's exactly like Fran. The only difference is the feeling is a little backwards.
So you
I
do
would
the thruster
say.
second, yeah.
Yeah, you're very dynamic when it comes to a power snatch, and then you're asked to use those legs again to get up on that 30-inch box, which is interesting. And then, I mean, sorry, but if Betty loses her bear on the rounds of 3, she
We ain't going back for Teddy.
we ain't going back for it. Most athletes, pretty quick singles, methodical on your 9 burpee box jump overs. By methodical, we mean stay within yourself. Breathe, think about your footwork, that sort of stuff. Just keep moving, but don't be crazy. And then when you get your snatches done, the 6, there's some choices to be made. Is it, if I go hard on these 6 burpee box jump overs, what is going to happen to me? I may even be able to finish the workout, that sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of information gathering in 996, and then 633 is, it's what you got.
When I saw this, I thought about like what I would do on this. And again, it's not setting the world on fire, but obviously can do the snatches, can do the burpee box jumps at a decent pace. Like,
You can't burpee box jump that high, guy.
no, it's over 30 I can't do.
Oh,
30
my
is like
bad.
my threshold.
I'm going
Barely.
to slide a piece of paper under your box.
Don't do it. But for me, that's what you just described is exactly how I thought of it. It's like you get through the 9 of singles, you go pretty quick on the 9 burpee box jump overs, but obviously you're going to be tempered by how much the snatches take out of you. You do your 6 snatches, then you push the 6 burpee box jump overs at a pace that feels uncomfortable. Can you then go over and grab the barbell and do 3 touch and go and 3 fast burpee box jump overs? That's sort of what I was thinking for myself. But again, you have to know yourself. If you do the 6 fast burpee box jump overs and you fail 2 or 3 snatches, then you should have just done singles. You should have gone slow in the burpee box jump overs. Like, where's the benefit there? So to me, I think that's the line at which you turn things on, kind of like the end of the row in the wall ball row. It's very similar here, but again, it goes back to your training experiences. The more you know about yourself, the more you're going to know when that line is, and when it's time. Go do it.
Don't underestimate what it's going to feel like after the 9 and 9. I just want to throw that out there. The snatch burpee at light weights is like I can't see in round 2.
Sneaky.
So you just got to think about, okay, we've somehow doubled the metabolic demand of the worst combination that we can think of. So just don't.
Assuming you can move quickly.
Yes. Do not underestimate what this is going to be. That being said, we are going to be back on Instagram Live showing you this. So we will see you guys either tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll hang out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for that. We'll stay, continuing to make sure that we're answering you guys' questions, putting out content. We're doing a little behind the scenes stuff that you'll see on YouTube at some point, towards the end of the weekend next week, at some point, which can kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of what it's like to run an affiliate, Misfit Athletics, and coach athletes simultaneously. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still up in the air about how I personally feel about event 2. It absolutely positively means nothing how I feel about event 2, but I'm just not 100% sure what it does for the sport if quarterfinals sort of look this specific way. But it's not the physical demand as much as just as those GHD sit-ups.
Yeah, the safety demand of those is just, again, there's a big amount of variance between the top 1% and the top 10%. So you'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But, overall, I'm pretty pleased with how the tests have been developed, and I'm excited to do all of them and see you guys do them.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
When he says you guys, he's talking to you guys out there.
I was talking to
No,
Drew,
yeah,
actually.
Drew. You
Dude,
got it.
event 1, know what I'm
You
saying?
got it. Yeah, get up there, guy. You could you do?
Yeah.
Can you do double dumbbell hang power cleans?
It's his life.
You kidding?
Let's go, kid.
One day I did like 300 and my arms didn't move for at my house.
Perfect. It'll be
Yes.
like everybody else in there. Hip flexors just
Yeah,
walking around.
exactly.
Yeah.
I did the 60, 50, 40, 30 with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like there has to have been a way to create. What I like
Make
about
them do like
them-
muscle ups first
Yeah, yeah, man.
or rope climbs first.
Yeah, or yeah, something. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of different ways that we could have still get the correct athletes to semifinals. We'll see. We saw some athletes who did it, and they total volume was in the 150 rep range, which is where we kind of typically are
Yeah.
around when it comes to training. That's definitely reasonable. There's obviously a big difference between 150 reps over the course of, Cody doing them in 3 minutes versus somebody kind of grinding through them back and forth over 20. But
this is also an explanation of why we program those workouts.
Yeah.
We're preparing people to excel in a sport. Where would we program anything like this for general fitness? Of course not. No. So
kind of reminds me of the article you wrote about how we need, affiliates need the CrossFit Games. I mean, training programs like ourselves need the CrossFit Games to figure out, like, all right, well, this is what the new status quo is. Like, all right,
there's still obviously value at the affiliate level, a lot of value in that.
Of course.
Like, pretty much, I mean, there aren't too many movements that I don't think of like as valuable for those athletes. And maybe it's a nod to, hey, let's not forget some of these quote basic movements that are taught. But yeah, I don't know. I was a little bit bummed because I was talking to one of the coaches out here who qualified, isn't somebody who's like competitive or attempting to be competitive, but it's like, oh, cool. Like, I qualified for the next stage. I'll throw my hat in the ring. Also go ahead and buy in with, a minimum of 110, probably close to 150 GHDs.
A month's worth of GHDs.
Like, and now I'm no longer excited to participate because I'm gonna choose to not do this workout for my own safety. So, yeah, at the end of the day for us, it's, hey, we're sending the fittest people on the planet to semifinals and then to the CrossFit Games. And I think it'll be a good test.
Yeah.
We did have a question, probably just that third one, eh?
Yeah.
Slightly off topic, but any thoughts, generally speaking, on Masters, game day pace, walkthrough pace, focus on larger prize of AGOQ? There are a lot of athletes out there that qualified for the quarterfinals that are also qualified for the AGOQ. And we might not have had the same answer before, but I do not like the idea of an AGOQ athlete doing the 60, 50, 40, 30 if there are any concerns whatsoever. If you're slightly concerned, it just doesn't make any sense to me to do them. Now, Castro has sort of brought iterations of workouts throughout different categories, and that's why we are going to program a team weekend competition based on these workouts that we will put out for free. But the idea of, it wouldn't be that crazy for you to go through and do 1, 3, 4, 5. It wouldn't be that crazy for you to go do 1, modified 2, 3, 4, and 5, whatever it is. But if you are like really focused on that AGOQ and, your back pumps out on this, or pistols mess with your knee or your ankle, whatever it is, typically there are a few more mobility concerns when it comes to the Masters. Yeah, that's
what you were saying earlier about, like, maybe going for another set of front squats and what that would do to your final day of the qualifier, the quarterfinal. The same thing happens to the Masters athletes. Like, are you willing to trade the experience of doing one of the quarterfinal workouts for a week of training? Like, that's the conversation you have to ask with yourself. Like, if you potentially do event 2 and you can't train hard for 4 to 5 days, like, what did you gain? You did the workout, like, awesome. I'm proud of you for qualifying. You should definitely be proud of that. But, like, think about, what's your race? What race are you running right now? Are you going for the quarterfinals where you're probably not going to the CrossFit Games that way? Or are you trying to get your ticket punched to Madison? Like, to me, that's pretty much a no-brainer.
Yeah, in that workout specifically, I think if you're a master, you're somebody who does them occasionally or something, you could probably get away with like a 40, 30, 20 or something like that, modifying the total volume down a little bit to get a feel for it. But again, that's only if that's something you're training regularly. If not, you luckily you got a 1 month heads up that there's a chance they're coming your way. I think in the Masters at the CrossFit Games we've seen a GHD sit up, maybe even a weighted one if I remember. But
they've done GHDs.
I know they've done GHDs, but like, fortunately, that's one of those things that, like, if you're already fit, you just need to start mixing them in a little bit. And that is as simple as, like, I'm going to do 20 today, I'm going to do 25 tomorrow, and just slowly build that capacity. But from a competitive standpoint, kind of aside from event 2, I think there's a lot of value in going through the events in the order that you would do them, because I would not be surprised to see the AGOQ shift to a similar like timeline style of submission whereas previously it's 6 or 7 events, and I would also assume that the AGOQ is going to have slightly more events, given that this is that is going to be your ticket to Madison. So there needs to be maybe a little bit more provided, more tests to get the right athletes there. And anytime that you can put those tests, kind of simulate a qualification scenario, how valuable would it be to know, like, oh, I can front squat more the next day and it didn't screw up my snatch, burpee, box jump over workout, or it did. And now I know that, going into the AGOQ, when there is a timeline, I know that I can't get away with this when it's a 1 rep max deadlift, because Castro loves to do that with the masters athletes. So definitely don't need to put a ton of pressure on yourself, but instead treat it as a learning experience. That is as close to the AGOQ, literally and figuratively, as you're probably going to get until you actually do it. So don't kill yourself doing it, but it's an opportunity, and it's just another couple training sessions for you, and you've got a full month to kind of prepare.
I also have no issue with applying that logic directly to team athletes. If you are like 100% team athlete, you've qualified, you want to get the feel for this, there's a bunch of different ways to handle event too. You could just go slow, just to see what it feels like, and ask yourself, next year I want to go individual. So I just wanted to know what my scores compared to, my competitors like, but I would have sort of the same thoughts when it comes to that. Before we wrap up, should have mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast. Sharpen the Axe is going to be sponsoring 2 members from the community. Okay, so we've done this now 3 times. It's called Sponsor Me STA. If you use the hashtag Sponsor Me STA on Instagram and you put up at least 1 post a week for the next 4 weeks, and really just sort of, it's almost like you're showcasing that you should be a sponsored athlete. And this is going to be someone from our community, someone that follows this. We just re-signed the 2 athletes that won last year. Hannah and Preston won last year. They are re-upping their athlete contracts. So this is one of those things where we're like, trying to pull you in and then just letting you go. You get the free gear for an entire year. You get your athlete code. You get paid for the amount of stuff that, your code sells, all that good stuff. The thing this year that we are changing that is an improvement to this is the other 8 finalists are going to receive ambassador contracts. So you're also going to get a code. We're going to send you some free gear throughout the year. And it's just sort of one of those things where like you're, in AAA waiting for the call to come up and sort of do your thing in the big leagues. So we're going to end up, working with 10 athletes from this competition, which is a pretty wide range. So you just head to @SharpenTheAxe on Instagram to find all those details. There's a bunch of stuff there. And then finally, you can speak to this. How long have the coach's pants been in development? Is it 3 years? Is it 3 years?
I was going to say at least 2 full years of development.
I think it's 3.
Something you and I spoke about quite a bit is, we are also coaches out there. We're not just, hanging out in our sweatpants all day. And we wanted to have the opportunity to give someone a pair of pants that could be, you could coach in them, but then you could go out to dinner with your, significant other and not look like you're wearing gym, sweatpants to dinner. So you guys know, listening to this, that we literally made these for Sherb, so he could look a little better when he's
literally only for Sherb. So
Noelle saw them yesterday. She was like,
disgusting combination of colors.
What
in
are you wearing? And I was like, see, I do have real pants, I swear. but realistically, it's meant to be that pant that you can, do anything in. But they can also go out to eat dinner, coach in, and then you could also maybe go hiking, and you wouldn't be like, oh man, these are stiff like cargo pants. Like these are actually really comfortable pants. So I'm super stoked for y'all this year.
We're actually going to sort of, in the light of bringing those 2 things together, we are going to be highlighting multiple coaches to do the media for this. They made their own STA shirts.
Love it.
People out in the, we have a, coaching is near and dear to our heart. So the coaches collection, the tops were designed by coaches in the, Sharpen the Axe community. You guys are gonna be able to see that. It's pretty exciting. So that will be on April 21st. Those are going to drop. Team workouts, we talked about this. We're going to continue to post, sort of the partner versions on the website. We're going to post a free download for the team version of what we think, these quarterfinals workouts could look like. You can attack them this weekend. You can attack them next week, next weekend, whenever it is. It's just an opportunity to get into the flow of things where we typically see Castro, sort of double up on themes when it comes to that. Last but not least, if you're listening to this podcast just to get tips and you're wondering, you want to check out misfitathletics.com or affiliate programming at teammisfit.com. We believe in this stuff so much that, we've dedicated our lives to it, but we also give 2 weeks away for free to anyone that wants to try it. So SugarWad Marketplace, teammisfit.com, misfitathletics.com. Go get signed up. You try 2 weeks for free. You let us know what you're thinking. Reach out. Let us know how it's going. You got something?
Yeah. I've never been so. I have never been more irate in my whole.
What you got for us?
Oh my goodness,
fuck,
the
see you
grip
guys, I'm
test.
outta
Is
here.
anyone still here?
Bye, I'm leaving.
Anyone
How many
still
viewers
here?
we got, Ted? 4? Oh, all right.
All right, grip test. We're sorry that we
We're
screwed this
live?
part. Oh my goodness, I'm not going first.
embarrassing.
Are you kidding me? Don't you dare touch your elbow to the table again.
Can I have some sort of advantage of coming last 100 weeks in a row?
Oh, that's right. Did
Oh my God, that's the worst score we've ever seen.
This is
what is it,
0.
133?
I have a
slipped.
17
is that your body
pound
weight?
French bulldog, and he grabbed it with his paw and got 134.
Good doggy.
I hate that stupid thing. Get it out. I'm breaking it next week.
155. I'm only way stronger than Sherb still. And then Hunter wins. Where's Cody?
Get out of here. I'm gonna switch it to kilos.
Sure, punch him in the face.
Ow. Oh, only 162. It kind of slipped out of my hand.
Oh, I bet it did.
Yeah.
Put your elbow on the table again.
Whatever. Still got the W.
All right, quarterfinals.
Doesn't matter.
0.
Quarterfinals are here. It's our
olds.
very first one. This is obviously a new and unique opportunity, but guess what? Handstand push-ups and pistols and rowing and wall balls and all that. This is our forte. This is what we do year round. We know what these workouts are. That means you know what these workouts are because we've been writing similar ones for you all year. Sherb is trying to use 2 hands on the grip
I
test.
still got 113.
What? You cheated. You got 113?
You guys are so close to being muted right now.
That's in pounds right now. Ted would never do that.
All right, so he's muted. Good luck this weekend, everyone. Seriously, go out, give it hell. There's going to be those moments, sort of I'm bored and annoyed by the double unders or the wall balls or the rowing. Get through them anyways. You've worked too hard to let that sort of thing take over for you. And in everything else, I like to stick by intensity is freedom. Stay in your movement. Stay working hard. You're going to be able to have your attention be consumed by the workout. You're going to be able to attack it in the way that you want to and get after it. So good luck. Keep your eyes on @Misfit Athletics on Instagram and your email and all that good stuff. And we will be chatting with you all weekend.